They did it, everybody! They finally caved and gave everyone what they've been asking for, kind of. But this actually ended up being better than I originally expected. So I was following the whole yoke drama way back in early 2021, which still feels like not that long ago, but that was actually 2 years ago now that they refreshed the Model S and X with the yoke, and we found prototypes that had full steering wheels, and even through website code, we were able to find images of the refreshed Model S with the full steering wheel, and we were hearing talks that Tesla would eventually offer the option between a yoke or full steering wheel, but they all just basically went quiet, and I was convinced that Tesla had just decided for manufacturing simplicity and the fact that most people, while skeptical of the yoke, tried it out and then ultimately decided, you know what, it's not that bad, or it's better. But there was still absolutely a very large demographic of people, likely the people that weren't buying Model S's and X's, that were saying, no way I would buy a vehicle that has half a steering wheel, that's ridiculous. And now, thankfully, as of today, they have introduced the option on the website. It is official, both for the Model S and X, and the best news, of course, is that it is at no additional charge. You don't have to pay extra for a full steering wheel, unless, of course, you've already taken delivery. So I'm glad Tesla is actually addressing this, because I feel like it probably would have been easy for them to just ignore everybody who already took delivery of the Model S and X. But yes, they will be offering a retrofit option, which means if you already have a Model S or X and you want to opt for the full steering wheel, it's only going to cost you $700, which I guess if you dropped $100,000 on the vehicle in the first place and you want a full steering wheel that bad, $700 isn't too crazy. But still, honestly, coming from someone who bought the cheapest Tesla, that sounds ridiculous to me. And even if I preferred the full steering wheel to the yoke, I would definitely not spend $700 on that retrofit. Maybe if my yoke was peeling and starting to fall apart, and, you know, my wife has expressed a lot more interest in having the full steering wheel option, but I don't think this actually addresses the biggest complaint people have, though, with the redesigned Model S and X interior, which is that even if you go with the full steering wheel, there's still no gear stalks. You still have to rely on these capacitive buttons, and in watching lots of Model S and X reviews on YouTube, which I've seen a lot because the Model X refresh is my dream car, I've noticed that people tend to complain a lot more about those buttons than they do the yoke design. 9 times out of 10, anybody who tries the yoke after a while is like, yeah, this is fine, but these blinkers are a bit weird, and this is a weird place for the horn button, and this is an odd place to activate autopilot and stuff, and there's a lot of people that just prefer having dedicated gear stalks like we have in the Model 3 and Y, and unfortunately, this doesn't address that at all. So I still think in classic Tesla fashion, this is going to be somewhat controversial, but I ultimately am not against having options, and I'm very curious to see what the take rate is on the retrofit, as well as what number of people are actually going to be convinced, like, okay, you know what, I'll buy a Model S or X now because I can get the full steering wheel. And more importantly, the big question we should be asking ourselves, does this increase the likelihood that the Cybertruck could come with a full steering wheel? And I've seen many people make the argument that the Cybertruck, which, you know, is going to be navigating tight spaces, and you're going to be backing up with it to trailers and towing with it, and if you're navigating a trailer through a tight parking lot, which many Cybertruck owners will because supercharger stalls, most of them are not optimized for vehicles with payloads, a lot of people want to have that full steering wheel. So this, in my opinion, increases the likelihood, but doesn't guarantee that the Cybertruck could have an option for a full steering wheel. It's just, in my view, it's such a bizarre, weird-looking vehicle. Having a round wheel just sounds off and kind of looks weird when I imagine it being in the Cybertruck interior. Like, round objects are not allowed on the Cybertruck unless maybe it's wheels. But in previous videos, I also talked about how maybe the Model 3 refresh will come with a yoke and Tesla would start adding that to their other vehicles. Now, I don't really think so. I think based on tradition alone, a lot of people are probably going to opt for the traditional wheel, but anyone who tries the yoke is probably going to realize visibility of that driver display is so much better. And I'm guessing that even with the full steering wheel, the capacitive buttons are going to tick off people. But ultimately, what do you guys think of this design change? Do you think it's evident that Tesla is finally catching up with demand on the Model S and X? And do you think they'll eventually scrap the yoke entirely? I'd love to hear your percentage guesses as well. Do you think it'll be 50-50 or 75% of people will choose the wheel? All that good stuff. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And thank you to everyone on Patreon supporting this channel directly. It seriously helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again and have an excellent rest of your day.